I'm sorry, Earth Hour. You've been a good movement, but now it's time to die. There was a time when we needed a rallying point, a way for the silent majority to demonstrate, yes, we're prepared to take action on climate change. Now, though, the message that if you turn your lights off for 1 hour per year is going to save the planet is so simple that it's wrong, and it's holding back the real work of energy efficiency. We need a new message. Now that you've got their attention, let's give them something to work with. Let's give people the skills and the confidence to make changes in their own life that reduce their energy use, and then we'll save the planet. This is really a story of my engineering career. Through the hard-nosed world of cost-effective energy efficiency calculations, to the recent epiphany that energy efficiency is not a destination, it's a process, and that process can be enriching and deeply rewarding. Here's the poo we promised. My story starts with Sydney Water, the massive Sydney utility. In our little team, we managed the electricity use of 1,100 sites, just a tick under 2% of all the energy used in New South Wales. The really interesting part, though, was their biogas program. This is a 16-cylinder twin-turbo engine converted to run on biogas. It used to be in a ferry. Biogas is created by separating the sewage solids, the poo, from the waste stream, and they store it in a digester where it's heated to human body temperature, and the bacteria that we've given it keep digesting the food. Biogas comes out, it's captured, and you burn it through an engine and make electricity. The largest one of these went in at North Head Treatment Plant in Sydney, right on the coast. When North Head was built in the late 1960s, we had really different ideas about how to treat sewage. And so the main sewage treatment then was a filter that removed the beer cans and shopping trolleys, and the rest of it goes out to sea where the mechanical action of the waves and the current disperses it. It actually works quite well, but it doesn't sound that flash. But once you install a biogas engine, they have a strong incentive to improve that solids capture. The more poo they get out of the waste stream, the more electricity they can make. If you make more electricity, you make more money. So they've set up a system that they earn money by improving environmental outcomes. This is what we like to call a co-benefit, the nice things that come with energy efficiency projects, and these can be significant. This is a message that was reiterated constantly in my next role, in the Department of Resources, Energy and Tourism, as technical advisor on a program called Energy Efficiency Opportunities. EEO compels large energy users to report their energy use and then look for opportunities to reduce it. But the program's really directed at lowering information barriers. We know there are cost-effective opportunities to reduce energy use out there, but companies aren't pursuing them for a whole bunch of reasons. That's the information barrier. They don't know what to do. They don't know how to keep records. They don't have leadership in their organisation. And they don't realise that often they already have the people in their business that can save energy. EEO sets to embed energy efficiency as a culture so that they can engage all of these things and start to put some runs on the board. This was a fascinating role. I got to look at lots of things from the inside, see what energy efficiency looks like in thousands of businesses. Thousands is exaggeration, 500. I saw a lot of sewage treatment. I toured just about every type of power plant in the country, including the worst, which is the worst in the world, and the best coal-burning power plant in the country. But the story that really stuck with me, the message that I really liked hearing, was from a little company in Western Australia making titanium dioxide. Titanium dioxide is the white powder that gives toothpaste, sunscreen, and the M's on M&M's their whiteness. The process of making it involves vast quantities of high-temperature steam and chlorine, meaning an energy-intensive and potentially hazardous process. Energy efficiency for them, partly, is about stopping leaks. Thousands of kilometres of pipe transport steam and chlorine around the plant. Reducing those leaks reduces money out the door. So, to get on top of it, they introduced an incentive program for their staff to identify leaks, quantify them, and then prioritise them. At the same time that they did this, they had a big retrofit in the plant with up to 500 contractors working on site for 18 months. It's a lot of people on a hazardous site. During that 18-month period, they did not record one lost time injury, an astonishing result. I spoke to management about it after. I said, how did you do this? You were on a safety program? They said, well, yes, safety's always been important to us, but the thing that really got us moving was the leak reduction program. That we found that staff were more engaged with their environment, they identified hazards earlier, and they fixed them. So they implemented an energy efficiency project, and they got safety at the same time. Since then, I've left government. And work for a private consultancy. We talk to government about how to think about energy and talk to companies about how to deal with government, which is hard. The last example is from one of our clients that makes frozen vegetables. Frozen peas and pea season is a big deal in the frozen vegetable game. They run their plants flat out for 8 weeks. So energy efficiency is a second order concern. Mostly they want their plant to run and they want quality control. One year though, the peas were coming out in huge lumps. This is something that customers had complained about in the past. Engineers got it fixed on the run, but thought about it more in the off-season. This is not a problem they want to happen again. Their solution was a new type of refrigeration called a fluidised bed tunnel freezer. The peas come through on a belt that's got holes in it. And all the peas are suspended in a stream of cold air so they spin without touching each other, much like the puck on an air hockey table. Because they're not touching each other, they freeze faster. Because they freeze faster, it uses less energy. 40% less energy in this case. So they bring in a process control solution, fixes their quality control, and they lower their energy use at the same time. What about the value, though, of keeping their clients? How much is it worth to keep a customer happy? Can you put a cost on that? Maybe we can. Maybe it can cost everything. Maybe in the sewage treatment example, the value is what it would cost to reverse the environmental damage of dumping sewage in the ocean. Maybe in the Thai West example, the advantage is in an engaged workforce. More people at work, more often, lower insurance premiums. And then the last example, how many peas does a customer buy throughout the next 2-3 years that you've managed to keep them happy? But does this work in a house? Large energy users have large energy bills. And if you've got a big bill, you've got a bigger opportunity to reduce it. But there's a big transaction cost with the big users. You've got to convince the board, you've got to convince your colleagues that you're not going to wreck their stuff. You've got to move all of these machines into place and get things moving. In your own house, you are the board, you decide the value. You can do whatever you want. We did. 5 years ago, we moved into a govie, a 3-bedroom cottage in the north of Canberra. When we moved in, it had an energy efficiency rating of 0. The house is really bad in Canberra. When we moved out about 6 months ago, it had an energy efficiency rating of 4. We did the normal things. Leak reduction, insulated the ceiling, insulated the walls, changed the curtains inside for honeycomb blinds, put blinds on the outside of the house to reduce heat gain in summer, and then we replaced every single piece of glass in the house. The leak reduction probably paid itself off in that afternoon. The materials are incredibly cheap. The curtains, blinds, insulation, I think in the order of 2 to 4 years, depending on how much you heat. The glass, probably closer to 25 years. But again, none of that takes into account the niceness that we got for it. If I had to think about it, what's the value of not having to wear a down jacket to the toilet in the middle of the night? What's the value of not hearing the heater roar into life at 5 a.m. so you can physically get out of bed in the morning? How much is that worth to you? Saving money is nice. I don't disagree with that. But how many other decisions in our life do you make based purely on cost? If you're going to buy a car, you go out and you want a bit of fuel efficiency, that'd be nice. But you're probably thinking safety, comfort, handling. Can you fit 3 child seats across the back? Thinking about it the other way around, if you are going to make decisions based on cost, you should attempt to cost everything. So we're in a new house now. We've been in there 6 months. First thing we did was put in a new ceiling throughout and R5 insulation. It's one of the best things we've ever done. We put in a state-of-the-art heat pump heater, working in parallel with the existing fireplace. Fuel costs for the heat pump look like they're going to be about the same as the fireplace, but that doesn't count half an hour of my time every running day to make the fireplace work. And at my rates, that blows it out of the water. We changed all of the lights over to LEDs, and they'll pay off in 2 to 4 years, depending on how often we use them. But again, what's the value of me never burning a hole all the way through my pillow with a reading lamp ever again? Quite a lot. So what is it worth to you? What would it be worth to you to only go to the petrol station once a fortnight rather than once a week? $10, $20? I don't like petrol stations. What about coming home from work and seeing that there's no food in the fridge, but knowing that you can go out the back and pick silver beet and get eggs and make a meal? What's that worth to you to not go to the shops? So I'm asking Earth Hour, let's advance the message. The message that energy efficiency is going without has not been my experience. Energy efficiency for us has been riding our bike to work, coming home to a house that's the perfect temperature all the time, giving our chickens food scraps and they give us eggs, and then getting a beer from a fridge that costs less to run than a standard mobile phone. A lower energy use life is glorious, and I strongly encourage you all to try it. Thank you.